it's a momentous decision to leave Oyster Band. It certainly was. But my first solo album was already released, and I'd already done a couple of small solo tours. So it wasn't such a big step, but still there were a lot of things that I didn't know about because I didn't really know anything about managing myself and how to do it. I had a lot to learn. It was a big learning curve, but it wasn't as sudden as you might think. It spurred me to be much more creative and to write lots more songs and to work much harder at the whole thing. So if I hadn't left the band, I wouldn't have those albums. And most of those songs wouldn't be written, and those tours wouldn't never have been done. So it's been good for me. This is Macpherson's Rant. It's a very old Scottish song. It belongs to the genre of hanging ballads, and it goes back to, I think, the year 1700 when James Macpherson was hung in the market square in Banff. He was a notorious robber and leader of bandits, but somehow he always managed to escape justice because, like many criminals today, he had a friend who was a judge that always got him off. And the story is that as he was standing on the scaffold waiting to be hung at 12 o'clock, he pulled out his fiddle and played for the crowd. And then he smashed his fiddle up so nobody else could play it. And then he danced a jig and sang a song as well. And I think he was looking at the clock because he was waiting for a reprieve to come from this judge, Lord Elgin. And at 5 to 12, or quarter to 12, the crowd saw this rider coming over the bridge, and they suspected rightly that it was in fact a message from Lord Elgin to reprieve Macpherson. And so somebody climbed up the clock tower and pushed the hands of the clock to 12 o'clock so that he could be hung before the message arrived. And this song has really become a song of sort of defiance against authority, and it sort of makes a hero out of a guy who was actually a public menace, but he defied authority and he showed bravery in the face of death, and I think that gives us all some kind of comfort.
Farewell, ye live, ye sunshine bright, ye dungeons dark and strange. For in this place I'm ready to Macpherson's time to hang. Some of you came to see me die, and some to buy my fiddle. But before that I do part from here, I'll break her down the middle. Then he took his fiddle in both hands, and he smashed her over a stone. He said, there's not another hand than me will play thee when I'm gone. Rantingly, so rantingly, so wantonly went he. He played a tune and he danced a room below the gallows tree. untie these bands from off my hands and give to me my soul, for there's not a man in all Scotland but I'd brave him at his word. The reprieve was coming o'er the brig of Banff for to set Macpherson free, when they put the clock a quarter before and hanged them to the tree. Rantingly, so rantingly, so wantonly went he. He played a tune and he danced a room below the gallows tree. Hup. Sunshine bright and all beneath the sky, for in this place I'm ready to Macpherson's time to die. Rantingly, so rantingly, so wantonly went he. He played a tune, danced a room below the gallows tree.
I'm going more and more towards a simpler sort of production sound now, particularly on my last record. But where do I get the ideas from? I'm afraid to say they all come from different things. And I wish I could say there was a pattern, because then I could follow it. But it just doesn't work. I played Macpherson's Rant today. That's an old folk song, and I just loved the lyric. I got a hold of Walter Scott's Minstrelsy of the Scottish Border, which was published, I think, in the early 1800s. And it's just such a wonderful story. I had to use that. And then the instrumental bits, they came from, I think, and this maybe answers another of your questions about the arrangement, because I played in bands for so long, I think in those terms for arranging, even if it's just with an acoustic guitar, the strumming rhythms somehow reflect drum rhythms and things like that. And so that's one source. Another source is reading books, reading history books, particularly, and thinking about history. And another source is reading the newspapers and reading about what's going on, and also memories. But they all come from different things, really. One song that I wrote on my first album, The Puritan, that came from, I had a crazy friend in Sweden. I live in Sweden. And he was a bagpipe player. And he phoned me up one day and he said, there's some public money going for some lunchtime concerts in old people's homes. It's really well paid. You know, we can do it, you and I. I said, okay. So what do you got in mind? He said, we're going to play hymns instrumentally. You and I, cello and bagpipes. So what's not to like? So he said, you had to get an old version of the Swedish hymn book. So eventually I did, and then I phoned him up. I said, okay, I got the hymn book. Which ones do you want to do? He said, the first 10. So, okay. So I never heard from him again, by the way. But it got me looking at the old hymns, and I started analysing the old hymns and looking at the very first ones, which came from the end of the 1500s. And some of the tunes just fascinated me. And one or two of them I was messing about with, and one of them turned into the tune for the Puritan. And I had it, is when I was still with Oyster Band, and I had it as an instrumental tune with a harmonica. And I thought, oh, it sounds like a cowboy song, cowboy theme tune. And I just put it on a peg, and I gave it the working title of the Puritan because it came from that time of the Reformation. And then one night I was just lying in bed thinking about it, and I just saw the English Civil War as a kind of a John Wayne movie, and it just led on from that. And then I wanted to put strings to it, and I had a friend who was a good fiddle player, and we just overdubbed a few strings and put some harmonium underneath. And it turns out, like you say, it's sounding like a big arrangement, but it isn't really. It's acoustic guitar, mandolin, and some strings. This is a song called Circles. I had a dear friend in Germany, a crazy priest who started being my agent in the east part of Germany, and he booked me into a lot of churches and also castles and monasteries. And he dropped dead a couple of years ago, and so this is for him. This is for Jürgen. Circles.
We walk in circles on the earth, with the sun, the big sky, and the birds. With friends we meet along the way. Some will come and some will stay. The things I miss about you now, your light, your laughing, and your smile. You left behind an open space, an empty place. Seagulls are crying every day. Sometimes I think I hear them call your name, but there's no answer to their call. Some will come and some will fall. I follow footprints in the snow, back to where we started it all. Then we went our different ways. Some will come and some will stay. If there's a heaven, you will know that's where you surely will go. You stepped lightly on the ground, and lightly you did go. Seagulls are crying every day. Sometimes I think I hear them call your name, but there's no answer to their call. Some will come and some will fall. I call your name up at the sky, but the birds shout back and cry. There's no answer here below. Some will come and some will go. I walked up to the mountain top, and I gazed across the sea, where the endless green waves had once spoken to me. Seagulls are crying every day. Sometimes I think I hear them call your name, there's no answer to their call. Some will come and some will fall. We walk in circles on the earth, with the sun, the big sky and the birds, with friends we meet along the way. Some will go and some will stay.
I just want to get better at what I do and try and reach more people. It's as simple as that, really. I want to make better records, write better songs, perform them better, and get out and play them to people. That's all.